All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to deconstruct a really fascinating and pretty complex tool that millions of people use in the US financial system. We're talking about the ITIN. So let's kick things off with a little puzzle. Think about this. You've got a foreign real estate investor, an undocumented house painter, and a student here on a visa. Now, on the surface, right, these three people seem like they have absolutely nothing in common. One's investing from overseas, one's working right here, and the other's studying. And yet, in the eyes of the US government, they all share one critical thing. What could possibly connect them? Well, the answer is surprisingly simple. But trust me, it opens up a whole world of complexity. It's a 9-digit number. And here's the giveaway. It always starts with a 9. And no, this isn't a social security number. This is something else entirely. Okay, so let's break down the mechanics. What exactly is an ITIN? So, ITIN stands for Individual Taxpayer Identification Number. The IRS actually created this thing way back in 1996 for one very specific reason: tax processing. That's it. Its only official job is to give people who aren't eligible for a social security number a way to follow US tax law and file their taxes. And this is where things get really important. To understand what an ITN is, you have to understand what it is not. And it is not a work permit. It doesn't give you any kind of immigration status, and you can't get Social Security benefits with it. It's basically a parallel number that exists for one thing and one thing only: paying taxes. A Social Security number, on the other hand, is all about work authorization and benefits. So, yeah, they might look kind of similar, but what they do, worlds apart. Okay, so if you can't use it for work, how do you even get one? Well, the way you apply for it actually tells you a whole lot about what it's for. It all starts right here with this form, the IRS Form W-7. This is the official application, and this is a big but, you can't just fill this thing out and mail it in by itself. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, the process is pretty serious. First, you fill out that W-7. Then you have to prove your identity, and they're not messing around. You need original documents like your actual passport or certified copies. A simple notarized copy won't do. And then there's step 3, and this is the absolute key to the whole thing. You have to attach a valid, completed federal income tax return. Think about what that means. You can't get the number unless you're literally in the act of filing your taxes. But here's where the story takes a turn. Because even though the ITIN was created just for taxes, it's kind of evolved over time. It's become this unofficial key that can actually unlock a lot of doors in the regular financial world. You see, a lot of banks and credit unions now accept an ITIN as a valid ID, and that's a game changer. It means someone with an ITIN can open a real bank account, with interest. They can start building a credit history, get a credit card, even apply for an auto loan or a personal loan. It's basically a doorway into the mainstream financial system. And just to be clear, this isn't some secret backdoor thing. You have financial institutions, like this credit union, that are openly creating and advertising lending programs specifically for people with ITINs. I mean, look at this quote. They see it as part of their mission, a way to serve communities that might otherwise be completely locked out of banking. All right, so that's the financial side. But let's pivot back to the ITIN's original job, its main purpose, because this is where you see its biggest impact. At its heart, it's an engine designed to make sure people comply with tax law. And what a powerful engine it is. Just look at this number. In 1 year, 2019, people filing with ITINs contributed a net $5.8 billion to the US economy. That's not a small number. We're talking about millions of people doing their part, paying their taxes, and contributing to the system just like everyone else. So, okay, on one hand, this tool brings people into the system. They can pay taxes, they can get a bank account.
It seems like a win-win, right? But it's not that simple. It's not a perfect system. It exists in this weird gray area between different government rules. And when those rules clash, the results for the individual can be, well, pretty devastating. Let's take a real world example. A woman we'll call Rosa. She filed her taxes using her ITIN, just like she was supposed to. But the IRS made a mistake. They sent her the Earned Income Tax Credit, which is a benefit she wasn't eligible for because she has an ITIN, not an SSN. By the time they figured out the error, Rosa, who makes only $11,000 a year, suddenly owed the IRS over $5,000. That's a brutal outcome, and it happened simply because the system itself gets tripped up on the details of the ITIN. And Rosa's story really brings us to the bigger picture here. We have to talk about the risks and the very complicated reality of this whole program. At the heart of all this is a major conflict. You have the IRS on one side. Their mission is simple: collect taxes. To do that, they need everyone to participate, which means they need to build trust. They need people to feel safe coming forward. But then you have other federal agencies, right? Their goal is immigration enforcement, and that involves identifying people and tracking them. See the problem? Those two goals, tax collection and immigration enforcement, are often pulling in completely opposite directions. Now, there is a law that's supposed to manage this conflict. It's called Internal Revenue Code Section 6103. And basically, it builds a firewall. It's supposed to stop the IRS from just handing over taxpayer info to, say, immigration enforcement. But, and you knew there was a but coming, that firewall has holes in it. It's not absolute. There are exceptions, especially for non-tax criminal investigations, if a federal court orders it. So while there's a strong privacy protection in place, it's not 100% guarantee. And that brings us to the final big question. We said an ITIN is a key, right? It unlocks bank accounts, loans, a way to follow the law. But what kind of key is it really? Is it a key to financial inclusion, giving people a foothold in the economy? Or is it also a key that creates a detailed, permanent record in a federal database? A record that, if things go a certain way, could make someone incredibly vulnerable. The truth is, it might just be both.